Hello, Commander.
Sorry, I didn't notice.
You're good. The Penrose Collective, communities working together, building our future.
Sounds like
Same.
communism.
Fucking poverty kids.
It's like communist. Oh, this would be a good for.
And now there's no
yeah.
aluminum.
Damn, this shit everywhere.
Oh yeah, this is a. Oh, I found my start. Don't mind me. Basically, just.
He came a little.
Yeah, just a little.
If someone takes my start, I'm gonna cry a quarter.
You want to start on A bonds. If you don't start on A bonds, you're crippling yourself.
That's what she
On
said.
a what?
A
Start an
bond.
80k, bet you won't.
It's alright. Fucking Pieman started in like C, and he was like, "Alright, I guess I'll win this now."
And he actually like sort of
Yeah, and
almost
he actually
won.
fucking won it like a lunatic.
I barely beat him.
God damn it, Ghost.
Get shit on. Okay, so now I need to just kill myself, yeah?
From my
Yes,
knowledge,
please
yes.
do
And
so.
then return.
A robotics
Yeah,
HQ
okay,
has
there we go.
been
Now the
founded.
AI is in control.
A robotics HQ has been upgraded.
Dang, what the fuck
A
is he doing?
scavenger HQ has been
Alright, good luck, have fun,
upgraded.
boys. I'm gonna mute myself. There we go. Alright, cool. So we're, Whoa, is that a fucking cast match again? Whoa, is that ghost guy casting again? Holy shit, playing this game again? Holy shit. So, we have KB, Kaiser, Erikin, and Pieman once again, playing basically in a free-for-all setting against a guru-level ghosty boy. I'm really curious to see how this will change. He basically started in the exact opposite I would think he would start, going for metal mine and then double reactors for that fuel. And his economy is pretty much consistent throughout. So real quick, we'll kind of go through the line. KB starting with his own power for himself, a metal mine and a metal mine. So double metal mine with the wind factory going as the
Expansive
robots.
HQ has been
I
upgraded.
thought the robots required carbon. Or at least aluminum of some sort. So he's got a lot of metal. I mean, it would make sense that robots need metal, but we'll see what happens. Kaiser, on the other hand, is going for the scavenger HQ. Oh, these guys are the ones that need the carbon. That's right. So he will be getting that carbon produced, getting a little bit of silicate as well as the water for his humanitarian requirements. Erikin, excuse me. Probably the best of the four that are playing today. Already has his first geothermal plant right across the street from the guru level AI, and already has double metal mines going. So we'll see. He might be trying to basically rush for the kind of more exotic pieces of the industry, if you will, trying to kind of basically beat out the bot in a stronger economy. Pieman, on the other hand, has gone for a little bit of everything. He has already hit a foothold in the kind of water cell, if you will, with a little bit of his own metal in a low aluminum mine, and then his own geothermal plant, trying to get that very strong
A
power.
robotics HQ has been upgraded.
Erikin, the first of pretty much everybody to hit level 2. The Guru actually might be so far behind because he is on Guru level compared to these intern level players that he might just be so encumbered that he might just basically fall behind and die. As you can see, his bond rating is B right now. But we'll have to kind of see what he decides to do. Now, that basically leaves KB in AAA rating, Pieman in AAA rating, and Erikin and Kaiser in just single A rating, which isn't the end of the world when you take a look at it, but it is kind of important to note. Stock prices for everyone kind of leads me to think that either Pieman or KB are currently in a commanding lead to win the game. Low water on all the way over here in the corner of the map is for sale, but it's literally just water, and you'd probably be spending more fuel to... Oh, Erikin fucking wants it. It's an option, I guess, even though there's water right next to his base. He got it. He got it, I guess. So the tile is now Erikin's for no reason in particular, but it is his now. Even though there is a double water stack right there, but we won't talk about that.
HQ has been upgraded.
Pieman getting his own level 2, and Pieman actually at level 3, excuse me. So Pieman currently leading in the tech game while getting, let's see, we got double reactor, one steel mill, an elemental quarry, metal mine, and a greenhouse farm. So everyone kind of just leading with everything. Let's take a look at, so we have 3 geothermal vents, which I believe have already been taken by everyone. One by Pieman. There is one right next to the Guru base, but the Guru base did not decide to pick it up. And then the other one taken by Aerokin. So those have all been taken. Pieman has taken the only 3 water pump. Oh, by the way, we have all of these little doodads right here. So we have hologram, allows you to parry hologram. Corporate Spy allows you to kind of see into your opponents. Power Surge, anything that is connected, so if you place it here, these will all get connected and basically be shorted out. Adrenaline Boost, you click here, all these things get a bonus in the research. Network Virus does as it sounds. It does trigger the Goon Squad, but essentially forces the machines to go into kind of like a seizure where it will constantly require inputs, but it will not actually produce any exports. Core Samples allows you to kind of survey the ground to see if it's worth basically colonizing on. Underground Nuke allows you to basically take a stack off of the, well, essentially just kind of, it knocks down all the resources in a tile by 2 levels. It can make their mining equipment completely useless. Essentially, if it's on like a high yield, for example, like Pieman's, how it is on high, so it's on 3, a nuke would knock it down to 2, and then you nuke it again and it knocks it down to 1. Basically, again, making it useless. Goon Squad is, of course, a basic shield, and then, of course, you have Mutiny, which takes over everything for a short period of time. But in that short period of time, Kaiser has gotten to level 3, which is quite nice to see. Oh, and the first shock by Aerokin to try and kind of damage his water supply. Thankfully, since it was on a different level, only these 2 water pumps were significantly damaged, or at least harassed. The other one has managed, so it's not the end of the world. But obviously he is hurting, and I just discovered this little doodad ability. I can actually take a look at what our opponent, our players are feeling right now. There's a tile plus 10% patent, which is actually surprisingly nice. That is a really good tile for anyone that's trying to research anything, but no one actually wants the tile. That's kind of surprising. Oh, there we go. There's the first little, it was a bait. Kaiser wanted it, but now Aerokin wants it. It is a pretty good tile, to be absolutely honest with you, because getting that plus 10% patent speed, that's pretty good. Teleporters, basically more or less anything in here. Teleportation, financial instruments, energy vault, water engine, carbon scrubbing, and cold fusion, kind of the really up there options. Kaiser just trying to kind of sell his stuff away to make sure that he has enough dosh to kind of fight Aerokin for it. And he just actually hit level 3, so, or he can hit level 4. So Kaiser might be actually taking level 4 as soon as he gets this patent up. And that's what he does. Let's see if he decides to take the level 4 here. He's thinking about it, he's thinking about it, he's thinking about it, and oh, he just got his patent, so there goes the patent, but he does, oh, and there's level 4. So Kaiser the first to step into level 4. How's Pieman doing real quick? A little bit of debt, not the end of the world, all of his resources are doing quite well, definitely has a lot of the chems going, and he does also have his first patent lab already on the way. Do we see what he's researching? He is researching financial instruments, probably the best early game patent to get, especially when everyone else is still kind of in the A to AAA rating. Of course, teleportation, the very next thing that he will be getting, but I think Kaiser has not actually started his patent machine yet, so Pieman might be able to, yeah, Pieman's definitely going to be able to sneak it out underneath him. It's going to take 86 seconds to get that, and Kaiser, I very much doubt, will be able to beat him to it. Aerokin, at the same time, has 2 unused tiles that are basically absolutely useless. He does have a geothermal vent, which he could use, which would be surprisingly nice. The Guru is on level 1, so basically it is stuck being useless, which is kind of sad. And I think this was actually purchased by Aerokin. That's awkward. So how is the AI doing? Pretty rough, Jim. Gonna be absolutely honest with you. Doesn't seem to really be able, doesn't seem like it's really even able to get to level 2, which is pretty funny, as all these other guys are running away with the current game. So maybe having it set to intern or something else would have been, or manager might have been a little bit easier for it. At the same time, let's take a quick little look at KB's economy. So he's only got $1 in the bank and 5k in the debt, but it's not the end of the world. He does need to be careful, though. There is no piracy option, so, I mean, all of his stuff is safe. But if there was a pirate option, one right here would just destroy his economy. And he is quite spread out here in terms of resources, so maybe a little bit further over would have been better, but, I mean, you know, how would he know that in the, what, 2 minutes, or like minute and a half he has to decide everything? Not the end of the world. Is he gonna get anything? What did he purchase? I don't know, he acquired something. He's just selling stuff right now. So back to Kaiser, the man in charge right now. Nope, teleportation acquired by Pieman, so that was a big deal. Getting that teleportation basically allows all of his stuff to be teleported to his base, not having to use nearly as much fuel, so Pieman really rocking his economy now. Let's look at the stock prices. Cold Fusion, first on the list here. Does Pieman want it? It's the real question. Nobody wants Cold Fusion. I mean, buildings are powered with water if cheaper, and I mean, it's not the end of the world. No one seems to want it. A little bit of interest from Kaiser sparks Pieman. And do we see everyone's thinking? It goes back to Kaiser. Does Pieman want to try and step up for another 1,000? We are thinking yes, with Erican actually. Oh, someone got nuked in the process. Pieman got nuked on his stack. So yeah, here we go. The one super stack that was originally there is now low. And there's a bidding war going on between Erican and Kaiser for this patent, essentially. Which is a big deal. Erican does get the Cold Fusion patent. So basically, if it is cheaper to use water, it will be used instead of electricity, which is a big deal. And that also allows him, Erican that is, to essentially kind of sell off some more of his power. The only issue is, of course, once that power hits like $1 or $3, essentially this becomes useless. And he does need to just be careful because obviously his economy could suffer a lot more because of it. A lot of selling going on here. Erican probably trying to set up to get to level 5. Kaiser is the first to get to level 5. And, Jesus, that's a lot of noise. So,
the black market is online.
Hacker Array is available, Patent Lab. KB just hit level 4, and Kaiser is still at level 5. What is Kaiser looking to do here? So he does have some glass kilns. He does have some reactors and some food, but the way that his base is positioned is really kind of awkward just because there isn't a lot of room to kind of stack up on everything. So it's just kind of weird, if you will, that he's not going to be able to really maximize all of his use. Now, Erican's kind of in an interesting little situation as well, where, excuse me, since he is using robotics, a lot of his stuff is kind of centered around the nodes themselves. So it's actually kind of nice for him, but he's kind of just, the stock is always a clear indicator of how the player is doing in comparison to the rest of the other players. And right now he is lagging a little bit behind, but that's very likely because he's probably trying to set himself up for a giant circuitry or food or something else along, in these lower 3 sections to try and sell. Pieman does hit level 5, and we'll go take a look at him real quick. So, Pieman, how are you doing? Let's see. You've got a shield on your patents, totally understandable. You've got you've got an elemental quarry, you've got 3 fuel, 3 of that, and some electronics. Oh, and we have another glass kiln, kind of just slapped on there all willy-nilly because he doesn't really have a lot of space because of his location. Totally understandable. And there was a shortage for carbon. Patent Lab, this will essentially give you bonuses for being able to gather some of the energy off of nearby resources, which for Erican, this is a pretty big deal, but this is actually coming out of Pieman, so... Ooh, another nuke on Kaiser, this time on the Element Quarry. Slowdown Strike. This is actually a pretty nice one. It doesn't get triggered by... Or Goon Squads do not defend slow strikes, but they are very powerful if you're trying to beat someone out towards maybe a patent or something like that. So it can be very useful because it has a very, very long cooldown. And it looks like a bidding war between KB and... going once. Sold to the man in blue.
Congratulations.
KB just sold off all of his stocks and is probably gearing up towards... No, he doesn't even have... Son, what you doing? Where's your anything? He doesn't have a glass kiln to try and... or an electronics to try and get to level 5. And it looks like KB is actually going to be buying out the AI here shortly, which, yeah, might as well, Gives you 2 free stocks, so... It might be worth his time to try and... And there he goes, yeah. He doesn't really get anything, but, it's something, I guess. So KB looking to try and get a little bit more of a foothold. I thought he should have gotten 2 more stocks off of purchasing My Dead Corpse, but it doesn't look like that's the case. Geothermal borehole, excuse me, acquired by Pieman, which is, again, very nice, as long as you're not giving it to Erican. So, jumping back to Kaiser real quick. Oh, hang on. I think KB is about to get to level 5.
Is open for business.
Or who was I looking at? Was it Pieman? Yeah, it was... Pieman just hit 5. Okay. Pieman hit 5. Erican just hit 5. No, wait, why is... Oh, okay, it was Erican. Erican is ready to hit level 5. He just hasn't opted to do so just yet. Which, yeah, as you can see, he is essentially looking to basically just mass out the electronics factory, which is definitely a very viable strategy. This is something that Erican does tend to do quite a lot, where he will more or less get these kind of high commodity items and then just basically sell them into oblivion. And that's usually how you'll see his stock kind of start to rise up. He was at like 23, now he's at 27. Pieman, however, though, has found his answer in the off-world markets. And with his... Ooh, Goon Squad failed on attempt by KB, defended by Pieman. Very well done by both of them. So Pieman has found his way to keep his stocks higher and essentially his economy stronger than Erican. In this case, it is through the off-world market, and essentially what Pieman can do is if he... I don't know if there's any more patents that are really worth it. Yeah, he can get his second off-world market, and that's essentially how you can really solidify your lead against your opponents, is getting those...
A fully refurbished mule is ready to
getting those double shields.
to the highest bidder.
Pieman really wants these mules. I don't know if anyone else is really going to fight him for it. Kaiser's interested, and so is Erican, but I don't know. Mules have never really seemed to be that big of a price or a demand, if you will. I don't know. They are good. If you really need something desperately, then they are a good way to kind of like mine carbon when you don't really have the claim space for it. But it's okay, I guess. Thinking machines, I think, would be a great option for Pieman, especially since a lot of his stuff is interconnected like this. It would very much help him personally to get that, because essentially, as you can see, minus 50% sabotage damage for buildings 1 tile away from your HQ. So basically, all of these close boys right here would be extra safe. But it looks like he's actually just going for the research. I wish I could see. Can I see his? Okay, so he is getting the chems upgraded. Okay. And yeah, 3 shields on all of his stuff. That's exactly what he needs to be doing if he wants to try and kind of maintain his lead. But it looks like there's actually a bit of a stock market fight going on between KB and Kaiser and Pi for Pieman's control over the majority. So the way that I see it right now, you basically have 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order for now. Things could change very drastically, so let's real quick take a look at KB and see how he's doing. Nothing in the upgrades just yet, and he does not have anything in the patents either. But he does have 2 claims that he can use now because he is level 5. Oh, it looks like he's actually been building a lot of his resources off on the adjacent tiles, which is a very smart move. I like this decision from KB, because essentially what can happen now is, since a lot of his stuff is separated, the risk to like large-scale damaging is very minimal. But at the same time, you know, one surge right here and this entire line right here is gone. One surge here, it's all gone. So it's a balancing act, as with many other things of this game. So you just need to be careful with that. Over to Kaiser real quick. Does have some minor increases in the energy, oxygen, and fuel, which, you know, makes sense. And he's also getting the silicon and research. I like this decision from Kaiser to get the research focus down. Cornering this part of the market would be very valuable, especially since a lot of people will eventually be going towards getting that research. So I like that decision from him. Also has a shield on his optimization and his off-world market, which is a great decision from him. I always like seeing people defend their off-world markets. These are basically your high stock value, your high value economies, essentially, or your high parts of your economy. Excuse me, I'm tired. We've casted like 2 or 3 of these now, and it's just, you know, it's nice. So on to Erican, who does basically everyone does have their 2 off-road trading companies. The Pleasure Dome is available. This would be a very worthwhile investment from basically any one of these people. The reasoning behind that is it's free. It's already built, and you can get control over it. And if you get, you know, virtual reality on top, it's a slight better bonus. And it looks like Kaiser is going to be getting that. So, you know, it's not a huge win, but it's one of those things that's going to give him plus 312. That's 312. You know, the little stuff. It's the little stuff, and especially when you're kind of... Actually, Kaiser's second on the pack. Holy crap, that's annoying. Okay, we're going to step away from that. Since Kaiser is kind of second in the pack, having that little nudge room to maybe try and stance himself to fight Pieman, or maybe to buy out KB or Erican, that's a very big deal. That's very helpful. Real quick, looking at the economy number-wise, so Pieman has 543 in the bank, even though his entire worth apparently is 544. He actually has 376 in the bank. How much? So it's 745 to buy out Erican, so he might be trying to save up for that, but that is a fight. That is a long, drawn-out fight. That would be very expensive long-term wise. Buying Kaiser out would actually be a much more beneficial trade, also because of the fact that he does have some stocks already in Kaiser, and that would really very much solidify his position as the top dog here. So it would be worth Pieman's time to try and maybe buy out Kaiser, especially since he already has so much stock accrued in Kaiser's pockets. KB, on the other hand, ironically enough, it's more expensive to buy the guy that's kind of third rung right now. Erican's strat here, duel. Oh, power surge. I don't really know who we're looking at Pi. So yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about here with this power surge. I mean, it is devastating. Look at all the stuff that it has affected. This is the issue, if you will, of Pieman's placement. He kind of just has to build like this. It's not that he wants to, and there we go. So Pieman did get Kaiser, so Kaiser is out. Technically at 4th, but he was 2nd in the running here, and now this pretty much puts Pieman in a commanding position to more or less just win the game here, as well, the closest person to him has a $20 share difference in comparison, that's a big lead. That's a very big lead. Power surge has buildings disabled, so yeah, it looks like both Erican and KB are trying to basically just bully Pieman's stock market down. And that's going to be tough. That's going to be very tough. A circuit overload would be very valuable, but yeah, Pieman can pretty much just lean his economy in on this, and basically KB's going to make it worth... He's going to make Pieman pay for this, and if not, ooh, this is a risk. Yeah, that's the one risk, KB. How much were you willing to pay for that? And it threw him all the way back down to single A stock or bond ratings. So it was a balancing act. I mean, KB was pretty much hoping that Pieman would pay top dollar to buy basically protection for himself. And Pieman said, you know what, go ahead and have it. But there's the circuitry, and yeah, look at that damage. Look at all that. I mean, his entire northern wing is gone, more or less. And that's a big deal. That is a very big deal. Pieman's economy is still perfectly fine if you look at the resources, and he's still growing, but it is at a much more delayed rate, essentially. Looks like Pieman's now going after Erican, who is more or less in 2nd place to contend. And that makes sense, you know. I would, at this point, definitely be going after Erican. But, well, it's gonna be basically David versus Goliath, except this time the Goliath has a 12-action shotgun, and David's only still got his slingshot in. Was it David still only has that slingshot, so it's really rough for him. Hopefully he bought Kevlar. Some of these noises, man, just freak me out. They're just so alien sounding. Let's take a look at Erican real quick, though. So, what can Erican... Ooh, carbon. Ooh, big carbon deficit. Yeah, he's struggling on the carbon. There really isn't much. I mean, it's right here. It's right here. It's just he doesn't have... There's no option to buy tiles. And because of that, he was really banking on the idea of maybe just buying tiles. That's probably what the problem was. My thought is Erican, he could use the adrenaline boost, but at the same time, it wouldn't really help him because he's got no... Yeah, his entire economy basically hinged on the idea of having carbon at the ready, but because he didn't, his economy is constantly
just disappointed in
power surge intercepted by the Goon Squad. So I think, yeah, Goon Squad didn't, yeah, Pieman. Oh, Goon Squad intercepted. Oh, someone tried to attack his off-world market and failed. Alright, so here comes the next market. Let's take a look at what will be on the line
A
here.
new claim is available for auction.
Ooh, that's big. That is a very big, yeah. Pieman can pretty much muscle himself in for this. And KB's gonna make it, he's gonna make him pay for it. 65,000 still really isn't that bad, to be absolutely honest with you, because it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it, especially at this point in the game. One extra tile is massive. And I mean, I would definitely feel kind of rough in KB's position, absolutely, but realistically, it's definitely still worth it. It's definitely still worth it, because now what he can do is he can take that claim and, uh-oh. Well, we might be seeing a buyout here in just a moment, so we're going to keep an eye on Pieman's economy while this all goes down, but we'll take a look and see what KB might be able to sell here. Patent Lab, Erican did get Cold Fusion.
What a payout.
Let's take a look here at, so Pieman's working on getting the oxygen, so he's probably mass sending out oxygen, which makes sense. It's probably the highest value thing.
The engineer's advanced production is online.
Has no upgrades whatsoever, and KB has electronics. So that might actually be the biggest downfall for Erican here, is the fact that he doesn't really have much of this upgraded. I would very much bet if he probably had some of his upgrades in carbon production, it might not have saved him, but it probably would have give him a little bit more of a fight. And well, now it comes down to KB, and woof. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough for KB. So we'll see what he can do, but I am not too optimistic that KB's gonna have a good time. Yeah, this is going up, and well, the party train ain't stopping. The party train ain't stopping here.
Successful off-world shipment. Make room for the profits.
Mm-hmm. Make room for the profits. Somehow I'm producing monies. Spooky. KB trying. Oh, apparently Pieman's actually buying stock into the third party. And here comes the bacon. So Pieman needs 813 to buy out KB. He's got a while. Long story short, he's got a while. And he does have a lockdown on his economy. But yeah, essentially this is more of like a tug of war position. And Pieman has been in the commanding, it's a snowball position. And Pieman's been snowballing for basically after he bought Kaiser. That was pretty much the game. Because yeah, we basically the only way that we could have maybe seen a change in the power shift was more or less if and that should be game. Yep, and there we go. Congrats to Pieman. Yeah, the only way we could have likely seen a change in the game is if maybe there was a Mexican standoff where we had, you know, 3 people or 2 equal skilled players, you know, 2 guns and 1 knife essentially. But yeah, that just didn't happen in this case, with Pieman really just kind of commanding the economy.